Tomorrow at 4:30 PM UK time, our Club World Cup campaign kicks off against Saudi Pro League team Al Hilal. Now, after going down 1 goal to Al Jazeera, they came back to just absolutely annihilate them 6-1, recording one of the biggest wins in Club World Cup history. Saudi football is definitely on the rise, and ever since they transitioned into a privatized model back in 2013, encouraging owners to invest into clubs instead of the state, they're now able to afford players who now aren't just signing for these clubs once they're reaching the end of their careers. And this has made the Saudi Pro League one of the most powerful leagues in Asia. Now you might be wondering, how good are Al Hilal? Surely a team from Saudi Arabia just getting absolutely seen to. Why should we have anything to be worried about? Well, for me, you guys, after our 1-0 loss to Corinthians a decade ago, and after our recent game against Plymouth, in which we absolutely struggled to win that game 2-1, for me, we are in no position to take any team for granted. Al Hilal are looking to be one of the first Asian teams to beat a European team. Their players are ready, their fans are ready, and for me, we can't let that happen. Tomorrow's winners are going to play against the winners between Palmeiras and Al Hilal, and in today's video, I'm going to break down our position in tomorrow's game. I'm going to go through my predicted lineups, I'm going to go through the press, and I'm going to give my final predictions right at the end as well too. So I hope you guys are ready for the game tomorrow. And before we get into anything, I need to get one big plug out of the way first. Today's video is brought to you by Profit Accumulator. Now, we're seeing how life is just getting so much more expensive these days. You know, our bills keep going up, the energy bills keep going up, and is it any surprise why so many people now are looking for safe and smart side hustles to earn a little bit extra? And this is where Profit Accumulator could definitely be of interest to you. Profit Accumulator earns you money using something called match betting, which essentially means that they find bookmaker offers and use some clever maths to work out how you can make a profit by using those offers against each other. This is a proven concept which has over 150,000 people registered. So if this sounds of interest to you, I suggest you go straight to the description, click on the offer, and use their 100% free trial, which means that you aren't putting in any credit card information at all or any details. It's very straightforward to use. You'll find all the relevant tutorials on the website as well too once you have registered. As well as I'm saying, you guys, head to the description and click the link to download and try Profit Accumulator for yourself. Now let's start with the facts and let's break down Al Hilal. They qualified for the Club World Cup after winning the Asian Champions League for a record 4th time, beating Pohang Steelers 2-0 in the final in what was a much deserved win, and they were by far the better team. Their new manager is former Monaco manager Jardim, who recently has been heavily scrutinised for Al Hilal's indifferent form in the league. Fans are really annoyed by the lack of creativity. They picked up many draws this season as well too. And when fans had ambitions to, of course, win the Saudi Pro League, it seems like that won't be happening at all this season, and Jardim is facing a lot of pressure. You'd think that Jardim would be cut some slack after, of course, winning the Asian Champions League and recently securing domestic cup success right before their Club World Cup campaign, but that means nothing because Al Hilal fans have very high expectations. Jardim sets his team up into playing a 4-2-3-1 system, with the emphasis being on attacking in transitions. They've come under fire, of course, as I said earlier, due to that lack of chance creation. They're drawing a lot of games, they're not creating as many chances. People think the football is a bit boring at times too, and I can see how that translates into knockout round football. However, in the league, when you have to go for it and be offensive, they are definitely struggling in those regards. Let's hope we can take some advantage against this in tomorrow's game. Now let's move on to discussing Al Hilal's main threats. I have to be real with you guys, they do possess many good players. So I'm looking at players like Al Sharani, their fullback, very good. I feel he's a guy that could play in Europe. I'm looking at their captain in Salaman Al Faraj as well too, a very good defensive midfield player, a very experienced Saudi Arabian international player as well too. And they have other key players such as Michael, a new signing from Flamengo who was scoring quite a few goals in the Brazilian league, and he joins up alongside a very fruitful attack. Of course, we start with one of the first key players, and let's discuss another new signing in Igalo. Of course, we know him during his time in the Premier League, playing under teams like Watford and Man United. Before he signed for Al Hilal, he was playing for another Saudi Pro League team in Al Shabab, who are actually ahead of them in the league table. However, the opportunity of playing in the Club World Cup, especially at his age, was an opportunity I understand why he couldn't turn down. And he signs for them, being one of the joint top goal scorers in the Saudi League with 12 goals. Now we know Igalo, we know that he's a very intelligent striker, he's very good at running the channels, he takes his shots very early, he's good at bringing other players into the game as well, and he has very good timing of his runs as well too, so he's definitely a player that can take advantage of us if we're complacent at the back. The next key player is Salam Al-Dosari. Very skillful player, very good technical player as well too. He's not necessarily a goal-scoring winger, he's more of an artisan style player, he's more of a playmaker. He has incredible flair and skill on the ball, he can run at people with pace, he has very good improvisational skills as well too. He's got very good passes in the final thirds, very good creative ones as well, and he's a player that can play down both flanks. He's seen as one of the best players in the Saudi Pro League, alongside other great players like your Taliscas, your Ever Benegas, Rodriguez, and striker Hamdallah as well too. I think for me, he is definitely one of the key players that we have to pay big attention to in the game tomorrow. And to end things with the final player, of course, we have to discuss Mateus Pereira, who left West Brom to sign for Al Hilal. Now at the time, this signing surprised all of us, but he kept things real. Of course, the financial opportunity that he received from Al Hilal was just so good that he could not turn that down for his family and for himself. Of course, when you're rich in somewhere like Saudi Arabia, you're not paying any taxes, so you're collecting and keeping all the money you earn. In Al Hilal's system, he does play behind the striker in a cam role where he has a lot of freedom to roam between the lines and of course play to a stronger foot. Now we know that he was the player that scored 2 goals against us when West Ham just thrashed us at home. One of the most random games I've ever seen in a very long time. Very skillful player, very dangerous from set pieces, from free kicks as well too, and very good with his use of the ball in the counter-attack. He's been a successful signing for them and played his part in helping them win the Asian Champions League as well. So this is a team that does have a lot of good experience, a lot of good quality and skill on the ball as well. So for me, we have to take this team serious if we want to beat them tomorrow. Now we move on to the press conference, and I'm going to keep things quite short because, to be honest with you guys, this was a very boring press conference. Of course, we know Thomas Tuchel was not able to attend. He has contracted COVID, and this has meant that his assistant manager in Zolt's Love took over in his place. We start with him, and naturally he was asked to give his thoughts about Tuchel not being there, and he did confirm that he has been having constant communication with Tuchel via video calls left, right and centre. Technology has been very helpful in this situation. However, his coaching staff as well as Petr Cech have played very helpful roles with the team during this time. He was then asked about the threat that Al Hilal possess, and he said that, we watched that game versus Al Jazeera. We've seen that they are a good team. They do have dangerous players like Marega, a player I didn't even talk about, and Igalo as well. So we know who to watch out for and pay attention to. Of course, we know that Mendy has joined up with the squad, as well as Reece James. However, he is not fit to take part. I think he's just there, to be honest. But players like Loftus-Cheek, Ben, etc, they are out the team. They have injuries and they are back at home in London. Azpi this time joined alongside him during press duties, and Azpi took part in the game a decade ago against Corinthians, so this is the only trophy he has not won in his career. He has big personal ambitions, of course, to lift this cup during this year, and I think he kind of alluded to the fact that maybe complacency did creep into our game when we played against Corinthians 10 years back. Azpi was fully aware that maybe in Europe we don't necessarily take the Club World Cup as seriously compared to the rest of the world. In Brazil, this is a very serious tournament. In Asia and Africa, they see this as a big opportunity to test themselves and their skill against European counterparts. And for me, I always think that you have to go in these games with the utmost respect for every single team you play against. And it's nice to see that the players are also understanding that and taking that very seriously too. Of course, players like Thiago Silva, Jorginho, they're going to understand the importance behind this game. So let's hope that we lift the cup, because to even take part in this tournament is one of the most difficult tournaments to enter because you have to win the Champions League. So you guys, right now we move on to the predicted lineup part. I'm going to assume that we're going to continue to use our 4-1-4-1 system, or even potentially go back to a 4-2-2-2. We do know that Tuchel is using this opportunity now to use full strength teams to build more tactical understanding and more understanding for the players to have with each other as well. So for the first lineup, I'm going to go for a 4-1-4-1 system. Up front, I've gone for Romelu Lukaku. In attack, Hudson-Odoi and Hakim Ziyech. In midfield, Jorginho, Kovacic. In defence, I've gone for Sarr, Christensen, Rudiger, Azpi and Kepa in goal. Now, the reason why I've gone for Saul is based on the fact that Mount is a touch and go for the game tomorrow. Love did say that he is performing better, but they are going to fully assess him tomorrow to find out if he is fit to fully take part. I do think Saul has been decent since he has been getting more opportunities recently, and I'd have to imagine that he's able to compete against Al Hilal as well too. So let's see if he was to start in the game tomorrow. Lukaku up front, purely based on the fact that it's obvious that the coaching staff and Tuchel want to get the best out of him and they want to use him. Arnes Mikkel spoke about the fact that Lukaku is an important player, and regardless of my opinion, I'm talking about the coaching staff and the importance that they have put on getting the best out of Lukaku. Why? Because when you spend 100 million on a player, this fantasy that you just discard them like that, I don't know where it came from, but we've seen time and time again that you have to try and do your very best to make it work. So that's why I'm using him. Of course, up front, Hudson-Odoi and Hakim Ziyech. We have been two of the most informed attacking players for us. I think Ziyech on the right hand side has been absolutely phenomenal. I hope that he's fully taking part in that game tomorrow. He has been our main creative threat for the past few weeks now, and I'm glad to see that he's showing that form that I knew he had, but I knew would come out once he played in his best position. In defense, I've gone for Sarr, Rudiger, Christensen and Azpi. Sarr has been interesting for me. I definitely appreciate his valiant efforts. However, at the same time, I still see some technical and tactical deficiencies in his game at times, but he's a very young player. He's only like 22, 23 years old, and this is going to be valuable experience for him. So let's see how that goes. And of course, I'm going for Kepa in goal as well. Mendy has lifted the African Nations Cup with Senegal. I'd probably use him for the final based on that, but I think with Kepa's good form and making that penalty save against Plymouth, I think out of respect, he has to start that game tomorrow. So you guys, this is my first lineup out of the way. For my second lineup, I've gone for a 4-2-2-2 system, and for me, Lukaku and Havertz up front. I'm really hoping that I see this lineup tomorrow. I'd rather see a 4-2-2-2 because I want to see Havertz and Lukaku linking up. Theoretically and on paper, I definitely feel like both their play styles would naturally just complement each other. They haven't had as many opportunities to play together yet, and I do hope that does come because, Havertz has incredible movement inside the box. He's very good at timing his late arrivals. He scored so many goals throughout his career by making that run inside the box, and it's been a shame that he has not been able to fully utilize that yet in the system. But I think having someone like a Lukaku just taking that pressure away from him would allow him to arrive and enter those spaces. So that would be a fluid one to see. Alongside them, Hudson-Odoi and Hakim Ziyech. I definitely think in this type of formation, you need to have guys who have more playmaking abilities in these kind of positions. Especially with the movement you're going to have from Lukaku and from Kai Havertz as well. These guys always play a very crucial role in the half spaces because they're very good at pinning back the opposition fullbacks. I think that's going to be key against Al Hilal. I do think that we have to minimize as many counter-attacks as possible just to keep things safe and respectful, of course. And, Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech have been a lot more promising in recent weeks. In midfield, George and Cover as well. Kante, I don't want to fully use him all the time. I do feel like he can come on in later games. And of course in defense, Sarr, Rudiger, Christensen and Azpi again with Kepa in goal. Players like Kante, Silva, I'd rest these guys for the final instead. Hearing the fact that the players kind of suffer through jet lag because of course the time zone difference is like 4 hours. For me, I feel like it's a good opportunity to utilize the squad war and let's not put pressure on players because we have seen that after the Plymouth game, 3 players had slight knocks, and whenever players get knocks now, personally I get very nervous. So you guys, they are my 2 lineups. As I'm saying, I really want to see lineup 2. I want to see Kai Havertz and Lukaku up front tomorrow. And right now we end things with the match prediction, and I am going for a 2-1 win. I do think that Al Hilal are going to be quite sturdy to break down, and they're going to pose some interesting threats on the counter attack as well. Someone like Marega, very physical, very strong, very good at leading the line, and very good at holding the ball up as well. He has played a lot more down the right flank at times, and he'd be a very good outlet for long balls too as well. I'm curious to see the threats they're going to bring. They've definitely piques my interest and my attention, and I personally do feel like a good performance is going to be needed. We're going to have to play well. So you guys, that is my match preview. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.